Urgent Atlanta Falcons fans. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here, we bring you daily videos with the latest Atlanta Falcons updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey, Falcons fans! Today, I've got some exciting news to share that's been making waves in the NFL community, especially among those of us who bleed red and black. The Atlanta Falcons, fresh off their rookie mini-camp, just made their first roster move of the offseason, and trust me, it's a move that's got a lot of people talking. They've signed a player who's been grinding on the trial circuit, a guy who's shown flashes of potential on special teams and has experience in the league, linebacker and special teams ace Caleb Johnson. Now, this signing is not just a routine transaction, it signals the Falcons' strategic approach to building a competitive roster, especially on special teams, which is often the unsung hero of football games. But before we dive into all the details about Caleb Johnson and what this means for the Falcons' plans this season, let's set the stage a little bit. Because, folks, the offseason in Atlanta is heating up, and there's a lot to unpack about the direction this team is headed, the players who are fighting for a spot, and the ambitions that Arthur Smith and his coaching staff are shaping for 2024. So, to give you a full picture, let's start by talking about the Falcons' current roster status, their draft and free agency moves so far, and what this signing of Caleb Johnson actually signifies in the grand scheme of things. The Falcons, after a somewhat promising 2023 season where they showed flashes of offensive firepower led by quarterback Desmond Ridder and a defense that's been steadily improving, are now aiming to take that next step. They're looking to solidify their special teams unit, which has historically been a crucial part of playoff-caliber teams. Special teams, as we all know, can be the difference-maker, game-changing plays on kickoffs, punts, and field goals. And that's precisely where Caleb Johnson comes into play. This guy is a proven special teams contributor, someone who's been on the field for a majority of snaps, especially on coverage units. You might be wondering, who exactly is Caleb Johnson? Well, he's an undrafted free agent out of Houston Christian University, a player who's fought his way into NFL rosters through grit and determination. He entered the league in 2021 with the Chicago Bears, where he got a taste of NFL action in 14 games as a rookie. Although he's not a household name, his role on special teams for the Bears was significant, playing in more than two-thirds of their special teams snaps that year. Then, he moved on to Jacksonville, where he spent 2 seasons from 2022 through 2024, playing in all 17 games each year, which is no small feat for a player trying to carve out a role. Over his NFL career, Caleb has accumulated 38 tackles, not eye-popping numbers, but enough to show he's a consistent presence on the field, especially in coverage units. Standing at 6 feet 2 inches and weighing around 220 pounds, Johnson is built for the kind of physicality that special teams demands. He's a player who's known for his speed, instincts, and willingness to lay it all on the line during punts and kick returns. Now, what makes this signing particularly interesting is Johnson's limited defensive snaps. Since 2021, he's played just 5 snaps on defense, which tells us a lot about his primary role on teams. Special teams is where he shines, and that's where the Falcons see a fit for him. This is a smart move on their part, especially considering the importance of having reliable coverage guys who can minimize returns and force turnovers. The Falcons have been quietly building a more complete roster, emphasizing speed, athleticism, and special teams toughness. Caleb Johnson, with his background and skill set, fits perfectly into that mold. But, folks, this isn't just about signing a guy who's been around. It's about the Falcons making strategic moves to enhance their roster depth, especially heading into what looks to be an exciting 2024 season. The NFL offseason is a time for teams to evaluate, experiment, and find those hidden gems that can contribute in special teams and provide depth for the main roster. And the fact that Atlanta chose Caleb Johnson, a player who has proven his ability to adapt and excel in coverage units, speaks volumes about their plans. They want guys who can come in, make an immediate impact, and help the team win those critical yardage battles on special teams. Meanwhile, on the other end of the roster, the Falcons parted ways with a familiar face, wide receiver Philip Dorsett II. Dorsett, who was the 29th overall pick back in 2015, had been part of the team's plans for a while, but with this move, it looks like Atlanta is shifting focus. Dorsett, now 32, has had a journeyman career with stops in Indianapolis, New England, Jacksonville, Seattle, Houston, and Denver. He's a veteran who's caught 151 passes for over 2,000 yards and scored 12 touchdowns in his career. His experience and speed have always been assets, but at this stage, the Falcons are probably looking to give younger players a shot or focus more on their draft picks and developing talent for the future. Dorsett's journey through the NFL has been quite the odyssey. Starting with the Colts, then moving through various teams, he's had his share of ups and downs, including an injury setback in 2020. Despite that, he's always been a reliable target, especially in deep routes, and his experience in multiple offensive systems makes him a versatile veteran presence. However, with the Falcons' current roster construction and the emergence of younger wideouts, it appears they're going in a different direction, emphasizing speed and youth at the receiver position. Signing Dorsett initially to their practice squad and then giving him a reserve/futures deal in January showed that they valued his veteran presence, but roster spots are tight, and sometimes tough decisions have to be made. Now, what does all this mean for the Falcons' outlook in 2024? Well, one thing's for sure, the team is clearly focused on building a balanced roster that can compete on all fronts. The addition of Caleb Johnson, especially emphasizing special teams, indicates that Atlanta is prioritizing discipline, athleticism, and execution in the third phase of the game. Special teams often don't get the spotlight, but in close games, they can be the difference between victory and defeat. The Falcons' coaching staff, led by Arthur Smith, knows this well and is trying to assemble a unit that can flip the field, create turnovers, and set up their offense with good field position. Looking back at last season, the Falcons had moments where special teams made a difference, but there's always room for improvement. Improving coverage units, reducing penalties, and creating game-changing plays are always on the agenda. The signing of Caleb Johnson shows that Atlanta is committed to addressing these areas proactively. And this isn't just about filling a roster spot, it's about adding a player who has shown resilience, work ethic, and the ability to impact the game beyond just stats. His presence on special teams could be a catalyst for some of the younger players to elevate their game, too. And let's not forget the broader picture. The Falcons, under Arthur Smith, have been steadily building a competitive team that can contend for playoff spots. Their offense showed promise last year, but consistency was an issue at times. The defense improved as the season went on, but they still need to shore up some gaps, especially in the secondary and pass rush. However, special teams is that often overlooked phase that can turn the tide in crucial moments, and with players like Caleb Johnson, they're investing in that momentum-shifting potential. Moreover, there's a lot of excitement around the young core of players that the Falcons are developing. Desmond Ridder, their quarterback, showed flashes of brilliance last season, and with a more dynamic supporting cast, he could take a big leap forward. Running backs like John Robinson, a first-round pick, are expected to be offensive catalysts, but the team's success depends on balanced contributions across all units. Special teams, often the overlooked phase, can be the secret weapon that propels Atlanta to that next level. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the Falcons' draft strategy this year. They've been very deliberate, focusing on adding speed, athleticism, and versatile players who can fill multiple roles. The addition of a special teams specialist like Caleb Johnson aligns perfectly with that philosophy. You want players who can impact the game in multiple ways, and Johnson's ability to cover punts, defend kicks, and contribute on kick returns makes him a valuable asset. Plus, his experience in the league at just 26 years old means he's still developing, and with the right coaching and team environment, he could become an even more integral part of Atlanta's plans. And, of course, this is just the beginning. The Falcons are expected to continue making moves in free agency, possibly exploring trades or drafting additional players to bolster their roster. The NFL offseason is a whirlwind, and every move counts. The goal is clear: to build a team that's not just competitive but one that can contend for a playoff run and perhaps even challenge for a division title. The NFC South has been unpredictable in recent years, with teams like the Buccaneers, Panthers, and Saints all vying for supremacy. Atlanta wants to establish itself as a serious contender, and every signing, every draft pick, and every practice session counts in that pursuit. Now, coming back to the fans, I know there's a lot of excitement about what's happening right now. The signing of Caleb Johnson might seem like a small piece in the larger puzzle, but for those of us who follow the Falcons closely, it's a sign of the organization's commitment to building a competitive, gritty team. It's about depth, about competition, and about giving the coaching staff options to deploy in all phases of the game. And if Johnson can carve out a role and maybe even make a few splash plays on special teams, it could be the start of something bigger. The Falcons are always a team that's looking to surprise people, and with this move, they're sending a message that they're serious about improving every facet of their game. Looking ahead to the upcoming season, there's a palpable buzz among fans and analysts alike. Can the Falcons finally put it all together and make a push for the playoffs? Will Desmond Ridder take that leap into franchise quarterback territory? Can their revamped defense, bolstered by young talent and strategic signings, become a top-tier unit? And most importantly, will their special teams, with players like Caleb Johnson, be a difference-maker that tips the scales in tight games? These are the questions everyone's asking, and honestly, the signs are promising. The offseason is still young, but the foundation is being laid. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize that this signing is just a glimpse into the Falcons' bigger plan. They're not just gathering players, they're building a team with purpose, with a clear vision for how they want to compete. It's about resilience, grit, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. This franchise has a rich history, full of ups and downs, but right now, the energy is optimistic. The coaching staff, led by Arthur Smith, is known for their strategic mindset and attention to detail, and I believe they see Caleb Johnson as a piece that can help them achieve their goals. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this signing? Do you see Caleb Johnson making an impact this year? Are you excited about the team's direction? Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. Your opinion truly matters, and I love hearing your insights. Remember, I'll be back soon with even more updates, analysis, and a closer look at what's happening behind the scenes with the Falcons. So stay tuned and keep supporting this incredible team. The best is yet to come, and together, we're going to see the Falcons soar once again. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and as always, go Falcons!